My name is Abinat. In this project, the focus is to enhance security and access management within Microsoft Entra ID by implementing multi-factor authentication. And so in this project, we will see how we can configure and enforce multi-factor authentication policies to strengthen user authentication mechanism. Let's see how we have configured users for multi-factor authentication. So under Microsoft Entra ID, go for users. So these are users page. It displayed a number of users registered for our tenant ID. Then go for per user MFA. This page displayed all users with corresponding status. There are three types of status in multi-factor authentication provided by Microsoft Entra ID. The first one is disabled. That means the user is not assigned for multi-factor authentication. The second one is enabled. It means the user is assigned but not completed his registration for multi-factor authentication. The third one is enforced. The user is assigned and at the same time he completed his registration. So now we have configured and enabled the user able for multi-factor authentication, and based on the guide of multi-factor authentication registration, he enforced his account for multi-factor authentication. So in order to enforce this authentication, we have to install Microsoft Authenticator app, because in authentication mechanism under security in authentication mechanism, there are a number of built-in authentication mechanism in the Azure portal. Here there are a number of built-in authentication mechanisms. So we configure multi-factor authentication under Microsoft Authenticator. We have to enable this authentication mechanism before configuring for users this authentication mechanism. Go for it and we can enable here. We can also include and exclude users from this feature. But in our case, the user able is enforced. So in this project, we use the user able to enforce multi-factor authentication. Let's copy his UPN and let's see how he signed in using his account in the Azure portal using MFA or multi-factor authentication. So let's sign in with different account. Because he's enforced for multi-factor authentication, after entering his username or his email and password, he will be prompted for the second authentication. That's why we say multi-factor authentication. Paste his UPN. Then after entering his password, here, this is multi-factor authentication. This number will be sent for the app he has connected with his account. That's why I said we have to install Authenticator app in our phone or in other device before registering for multi-factor authentication. So we have to enter this number in the app in order to sign in without any authentication error. So after entering this number, he will be automatically signed in to his account. The number is 49, then enter 49 and click yes. Then now he is able to proceed to his account. Here, this is multi-factor authentication. Now he is able to sign in to his account or to Azure portal. We can see other users who are not assigned for multi-factor authentication or their status is disabled. They will not be prompted for an authentication mechanism after entering their email and password because they are not assigned for multi-factor authentication. So let's see another user who is not assigned for multi-factor authentication or his status is disabled. Let's see the authentication status of Sakit. So go for this user. or sign in with his account, certainly he will not be prompted for uh, multi-factor authentication because his status is, as we saw, disabled. So he can sign in without any second authentication mechanism. So this is the way how we can configure and enforce multi-factor authentication policy for users under our inter-ID tenant. Thank you.